He was meant to sell an alien family, but his decision shocked the galaxy HFY. The auction station floated in the dark like a rusted scar between star systems. It was called Karth 9, a place where laws became weak and money decided what was right. Ships from many worlds docked there every day, bringing cargo that could not be sold anywhere else. Some cargo was metal, some was data, some could breathe. Eli Mercer stood on the seller's platform, high above the auction floor. He wore a clean jacket and kept his hands folded behind his back. His face showed nothing. That was important. On Karth 9, showing emotion was a mistake. This was his first month working as a certified broker, not a pirate, not a slaver, he told himself, just a middleman. He checked files, confirmed details, and made sure trades followed station rules. That was how he slept at night. The auction floor below was full. Dozens of species filled the seats, each inside a personal field or breathing mask. The air was filled with soft noise as translators worked non-stop. Screens floated everywhere, showing prices, species data, and legal notices. The station's automated voice echoed through the chamber. Next item, Lot 47. Sapient Family Unit. Their eyes were large and dark, reflecting the bright lights above. Between them were two children. The smaller one held tightly to the larger child's arm. Faint lines of light glowed along the youngest one's neck, pulsing fast and uneven. Stress response, the file had said. The energy shield around the platform shimmered. It was not meant to protect the family. It was meant to protect the buyers. Captured during border reclamation, the voice continued. No violent resistance recorded, suitable for labor, research, or private ownership. Humans did the same thing. The opening price appeared on the screens. The numbers began to rise. Bidders raised hands, flashed signals, sent silent confirmations. Credits moved faster than thought. Eli watched it all, his mind drifting despite himself. He remembered another platform, not an auction one. A broken shuttle ramp on a burned colony world. Smoke in the air. His sister pulling him behind a wall as shots echoed nearby. Her eyes had looked like this, wide, alert, trying not to show fear. She had not made it off that world. Eli forced the memory away. This was business. That was the rule. His wrist slate vibrated. A message from the station overseer appeared. Good pace, keep it clean. The younger child's light flickered faster as the noise grew louder. The older child stood very still, trying to be brave. The bids climbed higher. A group from the Industrial Guild showed strong interest. A private collector followed close behind. Eli knew how this usually ended. The family would be split or sold together depending on profit. Either way, their lives would no longer belong to them. He told himself he was not responsible. He had not captured them. He had not made the galaxy this way. Still, his breathing felt tight. Another memory surfaced, uninvited. His sister's voice, years ago, saying, "If we don't draw a line somewhere, it just keeps moving." Their eyes met. There was no anger there, no begging, just awareness. As if they understood that this human mattered in some way they could not explain. The overseer's message blinked again. High demand, prepare final confirmation. The youngest child made a soft sound, almost like a breath catching. The light along its neck flared bright, then dimmed. The adult closest to it lowered their head slightly, touching foreheads in a calming gesture. Something inside Eli cracked. He activated the microphone. "There is an update," he said. The auction floor quieted. Bidders turned their attention back to him. Even the automated systems paused, waiting. The overseer's message appeared instantly. "What update?" Eli hesitated for half a second. Then he confirmed. A murmur spread through the chamber. Risk lowered value. Buyers recalculated. Several bids vanished from the screens. The overseer's message turned sharp. That data wasn't approved. The older Virelian tilted their heads slightly, watching Eli with new focus. The children remained still, unaware of numbers but aware of change. The overseer sent another message. "You're hurting the station." Bidding continues with revised information. As if they sensed that this human was different from the others who had looked at them today, he should stop. He should let the auction end and walk away. Instead, he did something far more dangerous. He delayed the final call. Seconds passed, then minutes. Bidders grew restless, some cursed, others disconnected. The value dropped to a level that made the sale pointless. The overseer's message flashed in red. End it now. He spoke again, voice steady but loud enough for all. Due to unresolved ethical compliance concerns, he said, using official language, this lot is temporarily withdrawn pending review. You have no idea what you've just done. He did not know how this would end. He only knew that for the first time since his sister died, he had chosen something other than fear. And far beyond Karth 9, on trade routes and data nets, the smallest ripple had begun to spread. A human had interrupted the machine. The galaxy would feel that shock soon enough. The alarms did not sound, but everyone felt them anyway. Security drones slid out from the walls and ceiling, smooth and quiet, their lenses fixed on the seller's platform. The auction floor buzzed with angry voices as bidders argued with systems that refused to respond. Credits were frozen. Contracts were locked. Karth 9 did not like uncertainty. Eli Mercer remained where he was. He did not run. Running would have confirmed guilt. Instead, he stood straight and waited as two station marshals approached, their armor dull gray, their movements slow but deliberate. "Step away from the console," one marshal said through a translator. Eli complied. He placed his hands where they could be seen and took 2 steps back. His heart was beating fast, but his face stayed calm. He had learned long ago that panic only made things worse. Below, the Virelian family watched in silence. The adults shifted slightly, placing themselves between the children and the movement of armed figures. They did not know what the human had done, only that danger had not passed. "Lot 47 is secured," the automated voice announced, stiff and uncertain. "Transfer to holding pending review." He was escorted through a side corridor away from the noise into the administrative levels of Karth 9. The walls here were cleaner, the lights steadier. This was where rules lived, thin as they were. They brought him into a small room with a table, 2 chairs, and a floating recorder. The door sealed behind them. The marshals left without a word. Eli sat alone. Minutes passed, maybe more. Time felt thick here. He thought about the family. He wondered if they were afraid. He wondered if he had made things worse for them instead of better. The door finally opened. The overseer entered. Director Havoc was not human. His species had long faces and layered eyes that blinked independently. He wore a dark formal robe, the kind meant to suggest authority without warmth. "You overstepped," Havoc said calmly, sitting across from Eli. "You know that." Havoc's eyes blinked, one layer at a time. "They are assets." "You realize," the overseer said, "that if I push this, you lose your license, possibly your freedom." A projection appeared between them, showing the Virelian family in a holding chamber. The room was plain but clean. The children sat close to the adults, no restraints. "They are safe," Havoc said, "for now." The sale was halted under ethical review, but Karth 9 does not recognize ethics as binding law. The recorder hummed softly. "Before the auction," Eli continued, "I transmitted a standard compliance log to 3 external trade councils, routine transparency packet. Those councils," Eli went on, "include 2 systems that recognize family unit protections for sapient noncombatants. If the sale resumes, it creates a jurisdiction dispute." Finally, Havoc exhaled. "The sale cannot continue without drawing attention," he admitted. "Attention costs money. And safe passage for them. External. The matter is under internal review. You're trying to delay." But Havoc added, "Your career on Karth 9 is over." "And what you did." Slowly, carefully, Eli mirrored the gesture. It felt right. The escort signaled departure. As the family moved away, Eli felt a strange mix of relief and fear. He had lost everything he had built here, But somewhere beyond the station, messages were traveling, stories were being told. A human had stopped a sale, others were starting to ask why. And once humans started asking that question together, the galaxy rarely stayed the same. Eli Mercer left Carth 9 on a small civilian transport that smelled of recycled air and old metal. The ship did not ask questions. It only wanted credits and a destination. Eli gave it both and sat near a narrow window, watching the station shrink into a cluster of dull lights. Only when it was gone did he allow himself to breathe. He was officially unemployed. His license was revoked. His access codes were dead. On paper, he was finished. In reality, he had never felt more awake. His slate chimed softly. He frowned and lifted it. The device should not have been receiving anything yet. He had disabled most channels. The screen filled with messages, not threats. Not warnings, questions. Who is Eli Mercer? Is this real? Did a human really stop a family sale? Why hasn't this happened before? Some messages carried human identifiers. Others came from alien addresses. A few were from places Eli had only read about: core systems, academic worlds, legal collectives. He stared at the screen, stunned. He had expected trouble. He had not expected attention. The transport's captain glanced back at him. "You famous or something?" The words ethical compliance echoing through a chamber built to ignore them. Humans watched it again and again. Some felt anger, some felt pride, many felt something sharper, recognition. They knew that look on Eli's face. The moment when someone decides the rules are wrong, forums filled with debate. Was he reckless? Was he brave? Was it legal? Then lawyers joined the conversation. Then historians. Then families who remembered other moments when humans had drawn lines and paid for it. Across multiple systems, human advocacy groups began filing requests. Not demands, requests. Calm, well-documented, and relentless. Clarification of sapient family protections. Review of fringe station practices. Jurisdictional challenges. They did not shout. They buried the system in paperwork. On a quiet agricultural moon, the Virelian family waited. They had been transferred to a neutral holding habitat far from Carth 9. The air here was warm and clean. Light filtered through wide windows that showed green fields and slow-moving clouds. The children pressed their faces to the glass, fascinated. The adults remained cautious. They had been given food, privacy, and space. No restraints, no demands. That alone was unsettling. In their experience, kindness always came with a cost. A representative visited them on the third day. Not a guard, not a buyer, a human woman. She introduced herself slowly, carefully, using gestures and pauses. Her voice was gentle. "My name is Mara Lynn," she said. "I work with interstellar mediation." Then, after a long pause, placed a hand over their chest. "We did not ask for this." Someone had leaked his name. A security officer approached him almost immediately. Eli Mercer. Others wore civilian jackets with symbols stitched onto them. A man stood as Eli entered, tall, gray-haired, calm. "My name is Senator Abram Holt," the man said. "On behalf of the Terran Coalition, thank you for coming quietly." "What's happening?" "Some are already suspending certain auctions." "I don't understand." The galaxy pushed back. Trade lobbies accused humans of moral interference. Some systems threatened tariffs. Fringe stations tightened security. And then something unexpected happened. Non-human voices joined in. A small aquatic species released a statement supporting sapient family protections. A mineral-based collective questioned auction practices. Even a neutral AI council flagged inconsistencies in how property was defined. The issue was no longer human, it was systemic. One night, as Eli sat alone in a protected habitat, his slate chimed with a secure call. Mara Lynn's face appeared. "They're safe," she said without preamble. Eli closed his eyes. "Thank you." "The children especially. Some will resist it hard." Elsewhere, in a chamber filled with layered voices and glowing symbols, delegates argued. Some shouted, some calculated, some hesitated, and then a quiet voice spoke. Not human, Precedent matters, it said, and so does restraint. If a system allows families to be sold, it teaches everyone that no one is safe. Eli did not celebrate, he waited, because humans had learned long ago that real change was slow, painful, and rarely clean. But once started, it was very hard to stop, and the galaxy was already moving. The vote did not happen all at once. It came in waves of delay, debate, and pressure that stretched across weeks. Systems argued over definitions. Lawyers argued over wording. Trade guilds warned of losses. Fringe stations sent quiet messages asking how far the change would go. Eli Mercer watched it all from a distance. He lived now in a small protected habitat orbiting a neutral world. It was not a prison, but it was not freedom either. Security was always nearby. His name appeared less in public feeds, but never fully disappeared. Some days he wondered if the galaxy would simply get tired and move on. Then one morning his slate chimed with a priority alert. The session had resumed. In the council chamber, delegates gathered both in person and through projections. The room was vast, built to remind everyone how small they were compared to the whole. Symbols of dozens of civilizations glowed softly in the air. The motion was simple in wording and heavy in meaning. Forced sale of sapient family units would be recognized as a violation under shared interstellar trade law. Not everywhere, not instantly, but enough to matter. Debate resumed. A representative from a major trade alliance spoke first. This will disrupt established markets. So did the ban on chemical worlds. We adapted. We are small no longer. Some complied quietly. Others resisted and paid the price. The galaxy did not change overnight, but a line had been drawn. On the agricultural moon, the Virelian family received the news in a quiet room filled with sunlight. Mara Lynn stood with them as the translation finished. The older Virelian closed their eyes. The children did not fully understand, but they felt the shift. The air seemed lighter. The adult's posture relaxed for the first time since capture. "You are free," Mara said. The older Virelian placed a hand over their chest. "The human." He stood from his chair as the family entered the room, escorted but unrestrained. For a second no one moved. Then the youngest Virelian stepped forward. The faint light along its neck glowed steady and bright. Eli swallowed hard. The older Virelian approached and placed a hand over their chest again. Slowly, respectfully, Eli returned the gesture. "Thank you," the translator said. Eli shook his head. "I didn't do it alone." News networks moved on to other stories, but the echo remained. On fringe worlds, some brokers resigned. Others changed quietly. On core worlds, legal schools taught the case as precedent. Humans argued, as they always did, about how far to go, about cost, about responsibility, but fewer argued that it did not matter. Eli declined most offers that came his way. He did not want office or power. He accepted one role, observer. He traveled with mediation teams not as a leader but as a reminder. A human who had once stood on a platform and said no. In council halls, some delegates avoided his gaze. Others nodded respectfully. A few smiled. Years later, Karth 9 still existed, but it was quieter. The auction hall had been repurposed. Some said it was progress. Others said it was loss. Eli stood once more on a station platform, this time watching ships leave carrying supplies, not families. Mara Lynn joined him. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. He thought for a moment. "No," he said. "I regret that it took so long." The youngest laughed as light danced along its skin. The galaxy did not become kind, but it became more careful. And sometimes that was enough. Because once a human had refused to look away, and the universe remembered.